Hello and welcome back to the Unpacked Traveler Podcast, where we unpack the wonders and challenges of long-term travel so you can feel empowered to embrace this lifestyle in your most confident way. I'm so glad I got this intro by heart and memory now. It took a while. Welcome to the fifth episode. In this episode, I'm going to talk about volunteering work, how it feels to do it, how much value it adds to our travels, why do it, and also I'm going to share some stories about the best trips of my life, which in two of them I was volunteering. So let's get unpacked. So I found out about volunteering work through World Packers, through other podcasts. I won't remember their names now. But it says it's such a popular, it's a really popular way of traveling because it cuts down the prices of your travel. So basically, when you do volunteering work, you don't have to pay for accommodation, which cuts your travel expenses in like a lot. Most places also pay for your food, for your like lunch and dinner, and that's also a really good thing. A lot of people just quit work and go volunteer, and that way they get to know like a lot of places for a lot less money. I've never done that. I've never quit my job to do that, but I've done that while working, which was a little bit like a lot. I worked a lot because I had to work for my company and for the place that I was volunteering. But I don't regret anything. And I'm going to tell you about my personal experiences. And let's get into it. The first time I've ever volunteered in my life was in Sicily, in Italy. It was actually really random the way it happened. I had a friend that was staying and volunteering for an Italian guy. He owned, what can we call that? An inn, like a big house where he would rent the rooms for guests and he would cook for them. And there was like a big pool in the house. It was like a small inn. Very like family owned and really like local, small. It was a time of my life that I was already living in Italy, in Perugia. And I called my friend. I was like, maybe I want to visit you. Your videos of this place look so nice. And it really looks like you have built like a community. I don't know, like she was posting videos of a very family and friendly environment. And I was interested in that because when I was in Italy, I was kind of lonely. So yeah, I booked a ticket and I went. And when I was there, it was settled that I was going to pay for my stay. He would give me like a discount because I was friends with this friend of mine, Maria, if you're listening to that. Thank you and kisses. And then I've arrived and I don't know, I saw four volunteers. They were all around my age, each of them coming from different places, from Argentina, Canada, Brazil also, and Ukraine. And it was really nice. They were all helping and I was paying for my stay. So I decided not to. I asked him if I could also volunteer with the other ones. And he told me yes, that I could. So I started volunteering. I moved into the volunteers' rooms. They had they were sharing a big room. And we had everything. We had everything and we had even more because the guy, the owner, the very big old Italian grandpa, he cooked the most amazing foods I've ever had in my life. I'm not kidding. I've paid for good food in many countries, but the food this guy cooked, I can never taste again because there was so much love in it. He was such a caring and kind man. And he really I felt like he really enjoyed having that in. And he really enjoyed cooking the food. He was a cook when he was younger. Of course, that helped. But anyway, it was just such a fucking amazing trip. When I began volunteering, it was even better because I could create a better connection with the other volunteers. And I think that's one big factor why I love volunteering. When you work together with a person, you just build a bigger of a connection with that person and with that place. You kind of help build the environment and build the energy of that place and put it into life. And I think that's why I love volunteering and it's so worth it. At least one of the reasons why. And Again, it was my first time volunteering, and what we had to do in the place, we had to after checkout, we had to clean up beds and change bed sheets and clean up the room. Before the check-ins, we had to check out that everything was okay. We had to welcome the guests that were arriving and make sure they were having all a good experience, asking their questions, and it was a very easy job, honestly. We only had work for 3-4 hours a day, or even less depending on the day, and we each of us worked 4 to 5 days a week. I actually ended up staying there only 2 months. Oh, sorry, 2 weeks, but most of the volunteers, they had to spend a minimum of 1 month in the place. I think that makes sense. They don't want to train all the time somebody new. And for the volunteering is good because you actually create a connection to that place and people. And the overall, I think this was the best trip of my life, not only because of the volunteering, but also because of the Italian grandpa that was running the place. He was such a caring person again. He would treat us like they're his kids. I don't know, his children. He would give us rides to the beach when we had time off. He would cook for us and make sure everybody was following the Italian traditions with the first dish and the second and the course, the first course, the second course, the third course, dessert, fruit, and make sure we were actually eating it, And my family is Italian, so I can relate to the way he treated food and as almost like a ceremony and gathering of the loved ones. And it was really nice to see what the traditional Sicilian culture was with other young people from abroad. Again, I was volunteering with 4 people, and all of us actually, we had such a lively hunger for adventure and for new stuff and new experiences. So whenever we went to the beach, we had these amazing conversations. Everybody was such an open mind and trying to get a grasp of what life is, in this young age, what we want our lives to be, what we want us to be. It was such a very deep moment of my life, and I bet of their lives. It's an unforgettable trip for all of us. And yeah, I just wanted to share this story. I think traveling brings all of that in us, all this hunger for knowledge, for self-knowledge, for adventures and experiences, and we should, eat it, if that makes sense. Feed it. That makes more sense. And some information to help you guys, if you guys are interested in solo traveling. My friend has done this volunteering work with World Packers, which is super famous for doing volunteering work, and throughout the world, you can find a job offer and many different ones. So you can find what fits your personality, what fits your skills, and find what suits you. And this is not an ad. They're not paying me to tell you that. I just wanted to give you this valuable information. The second volunteering work that I've done in my life was also through World Packers in Briançon in France. It's near Lyon. It was such an amazing experience. This trip changed the route of my life. I was sad because I didn't know what to do in my life. I was sad with the way I was traveling. I was sad because I was traveling the fast, touristy way and lonely way, honestly, until I found co-livings. And it was through this volunteering experience that I found them. I found a very nice place in France that I wanted to go because I wanted to practice my French on World Packers. I got in touch with the owner and we made it work for my dates. She was the sweetest because the minimum time that a volunteering could stay there was 2 months, but I could only stay 1 month. And I told her that. She told me that maybe, let's see if it works. And thank the universe, it happened. It worked because a girl just canceled last minute on her. So she needed somebody ASAP before the other volunteer would arrive. And that was me. After confirming, I think in less than a week, I was there already. And it was such a phenomenal city and town and place. It was like a small town in the French Alps, like in the top of the mountain. The place is called Cloud Citadel. So it was like on top of the mountains, clouds, right? Citadel. And it was such a small co-living. It was like a tiny, cozy co-living. And I have explained what co-livings are in my previous episodes. But basically, it's a place where nomads usually go to spend longer than a touristy would in a town. And they have like access to good internet, good workspaces, and a kitchen and everything that a hostel would offer as well. I volunteered in the place and I worked 15 hours a week. It was 3 days of work with like just some, organizing after people, after they used the sofa. I had to like not clean it up, but like make it look not clean, but like tidy. Yeah, tidy up the places. That's the word. Tidy up the kitchen after dinner, put away the dishes, and so forth. It was like I didn't work much. I worked like only a few hours and doing stuff that I would in my house anyway, just for other people but me. And again, when you work for a place, you create such a deeper connection with that place than if you were only a guest. And I remember that in both places, I have this like organization freakness. No, kidding. I'm very organized, and I look at places and I see what can be improved in them, in their organization. So in this both experiences, I was proactive to offer solutions to like lists or check-in lists they needed to have, or like checklist they needed. So it was nice also to see this part of myself shining, because when the person doesn't have to pay you to do stuff, you can do anything. I'm kidding. But you could do more, like you don't have to sell your service. You can just do what you feel like it needs to be done. And that way you learn more about yourself and what you're good at. And that's what happened to me. This trip was really special for me. It's in my heart forever. And I thank the universe, the gods, everything. I just thank everything for me to go in there in that moment of time. And yeah, you should do it too. And I'm sorry if I'm speeding up these stories. I need to deliver the studio back in 20 minutes. So I have to finish up. Although I love telling the stories. If you want to hear more about it, if you want like a deep, detailed version of this episode, please let me know. If you're enjoying this type of episode where it's a more of a story time vibe rather than tips and lists, please let me know. Again, I don't want to be talking to a computer. I want to be talking to you, and I want you to reply to me and tell me what you're thinking, what your opinions are, what your desires are. If you feel like volunteering, if it's not for you, just talk to me. Let's create a community where you can share both ways. And again, just a pause, if you're enjoying this podcast, please rate the Spotify with 10 or 5 stars, I think. I think it's 5 stars, not 10 stars. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and talk to me over there. I would love to see your faces. So yeah, now let's talk about the last and most recent travel. I can't even pick which one was my favorite. I get so excited when I talk about them, when I remember them. The last one was at Maraia. Maraia is also a co-living space in Tenerife in Spain. I did not volunteer there because they were already full of volunteers, but it felt like it. I made friends with all the volunteers because I had done this job before. I knew what they were going through. I helped with, I don't know, it was just like a I get you type of connection. Maraia was the most beautiful, gorgeous house I've stayed in my life. It was so beautiful. It was so cozy. They had a garden. They had a backyard. For a nomad, it was like the dream. Honestly, Maraia, if you want to pay me to do your marketing, to sell you, I'll do it. I sell you for free. I love you. It was such an amazing place because, again, the connections that I've created there was so phenomenal. It was in Maraia that I actually created the podcast and created the idea. It was such a phenomenal place to be creative because there was so much nature, so much fun stuff to do. And I feel like when I have all of that, my creativity kind of shines brighter. And it was also nice to be taken care of, you know? When you're in your house, when you're volunteering, you kind of have to clean up after yourself. You gotta do your stuff, you know? Do your beds and just the normal of a human life. And in Moriah, it was nice to be taken care of, to be the guest for once, you know, in a big place like that. It was nice to come back to the bed and see it was made, you know, arrive for breakfast and see that the breakfast has been made. It was such an easier pace of life. And I know that was all paid for and very much expensive. So it was worth it anyway. I love Mariah. I love all these experiences. And I just wanted to share these experiences with you guys. I don't know. I feel like I really like to talk about my travel experiences as well. And I really want to know if you guys enjoy listening to it. You know, if you want a more detailed version. I know I ran a little bit with the content in this one because I have to deliver back the studio. But let me know if you enjoyed this type of episode. And to wrap it up, I think what's in common in these three situations, in these three best trips of my life, I think I was very honest with myself in the three of them. The first one, I was in a phase of my life that I was kind of like in the exploring mode, you know, what I want from life, what do I want life to bring me? And I found people that were in kind of like in the same moment. In Briançon, I saw a style of life in people that I couldn't be inspired and be alike, you know. I met so many travelers and so many nomads, and I saw that having this life is a possibility no matter your age, no matter how old you are, no matter what type of background you're coming from, no matter what type of relationship you have, you can be a nomad and you can travel. And I saw that what I had in my mind was real. It was achievable and it was possible. And in Mariah, I kind of like made that happen for myself, you know? So it was like 3 steps of my life that I've done in 3 different trips. And I love so much that. And I think another point in common is the social part. In the 3 places, I met many, many beautiful souls and beautiful people. And even though the connections didn't stay, and for example, I don't talk to many people anymore just because we were apart and we were far, they're with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not with me, but they're with me. I've learned from them. I have their faces and the way they made me feel in my mind. And I got inspired with their ways, or I learned something about myself from their ways. And I learned so much about myself in these 3 trips. And honestly, traveling and volunteering is phenomenal. I love it so much. And I feel like this story time episodes is also to inspire you to have that feeling by yourself, you know, to discover what traveling means to you. Because for me, in these 3 trips, it meant different things. And if I do one, like again, it will mean something else. So traveling is beautiful. Meeting new people is beautiful. Going to these places is beautiful. And the fun thing I just thought about is that I didn't even mention the places. You wouldn't even know I was in France, Italy, or Tenerife if it wasn't for me saying it, which is crazy to think about, no? So to wrap it up this episode, if you have enjoyed, please let me know. This episode style was a bit different. I think I'm a bit insecure because of that. So generally, let me know if you have enjoyed so I can do more of these or not. And get ready for the next few ones because they're going to be fucking interesting. I'm going to talk about the challenges and the lessons I've learned by living abroad, embracing your accent in English, how to travel on a budget, how to navigate long-distance relationships, and much more. So if you have enjoyed, just like the podcast, let me know, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Besitos.